Hey everybody, this is Eric, and we are going to continue on our statistical analysis and review of the tournament from this past weekend, which ended April 3rd in Long Island. And again, we're going to do this pretty much after every weekend of tournaments, so we can, so I can help analyze how you guys are doing from a statistical perspective and give some guidance to the coaches on how things can be improved and things like that. We're going to talk about some individual statistics as well. And we're just going to get right after it. So, once again, just to remind everybody about what we're looking for from this team, okay? At this age group, what we are looking for is a couple of things. Let's pull it up for a second. Reports, rising stars. So what we're looking for is an effective field goal percentage, EFG, of, I'd love to get 50%. I mean, I really do. I mean, I'll take 45, but it really depends on what your goals are. You know, if you guys want to win like these tournaments in Pittsburgh and in and it's Spooky Nook and things like that, you're really going to need more like 50% effective field goal percentage. So why don't we shoot for that? Okay. So 50% effective field goal percentage, turnover rate we need to have under 20%, and offensive rebound percentage is 30% or higher. These are kind of the guidelines that we're going to continue to pound on for this season. And then we're going to talk about how to possibly improve these things. Now, again, last year I just had the coaches watching these, but I figured from the players and the parents, if you want to look at them, great. But I have to warn you that I'm going to be very, very blunt about some performances and things like that. If you can't take it, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Nonetheless, so this gaming is rising stars. Effective field goal percentage, 44%. It's not going to really do the trick, especially against a decent team. Turnover rate was not bad, and offensive rebound percentage was not terrible, but just the effective field goal percentage is not going to be good enough. But the good thing is we can kind of get into the weeds a little bit and figure out where that came from. So the first thing I would like to say is that what we're looking for are less than 10% of shots coming from these kind of bad two ranges, okay? Now, again, I don't care how we did with them necessarily, but over time, you want to reduce the amount of shots in this range. If you can get me a perfect shot chart with nothing but wide open threes and layups, right, that would be great. But until then, we could at least root for less than 10%. So we want less than 5 shots in this game in these ranges, and you have 8. So that's not going to be good enough. And that's going to contribute to very, very poor performance. The other thing that you have to look at is from your good shots, these kind of wide open threes, we want to make sure that the right people are taking them. Right. So for this particular team, we're looking for Michael to be taking the majority of the threes. I mean, he is by far the best 3-point shooter on the team. And until a couple of other kids start to really just get their 3-point percentages up where they need to be, he's where the majority of the threes should really be coming from. So let's just take a look at the box score and see where these shots are coming from for this particular game. So this is the problem here, all right? So you had Gabe at 5 for 8, pretty good, you know, right at the rim. Dylan was pretty good right at the rim. But the problem here is in these threes, you have, you know, Jagger, you're taking 6 threes, and listen, you don't have that big of a sample size yet, but this is definitely the weakest part of your game. I mean, what you've got to be doing, or he's got to be doing, is getting to the rim. Very, very strong getting to the rim. Shooting threes is just not what we're going to be expecting from him. So there's just not a world where you have Mike with, maybe he got hurt. I mean, this is like literally the only thing I can think of. I guess he only played 4 minutes. He must have gotten hurt in this game. That's literally the only explanation for this. For Jagger to be shooting 6, I almost want to just click through this and just make sure that it was him that was taking these. Yeah. So this is kind of I guess this is kind of a strange game. So I don't know if Mike was actually hurt or anything like that, but I promise you that if you have a box score like this where Mike is only taking one shot, it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay, and that's pretty much all I have from this game. Everybody else is just kind of decent. Again, Gabe and Dylan, this is fine. I want you, taking it to the rim anyway. And I don't believe these minutes necessarily, so we'll have to take a look at that. You do have Taj with 4 steals. But overall, I just think the distribution of shots here was kind of poor. All right, so moving on to the next game. Let's go back into stats. And the next game was against Level Up. So Level Up, you guys lost by what, 10, 51, 41. I'm not too concerned about the results as much as the numbers. And this is really, really awful. Okay. 30% effective field goal percentage. I mean, you're not beating anyone with this. Okay. Turnover rate 25%. That's too high. Offensive rebound percentage is okay. But these two stats, I mean, you're just never going to win like this. So we have to get into the weeds here and figure out what's going on here. I do see that you were 4 for 26 from 3. Let's take a look at the shot chart from this game. This is very strange. Level Up. So you have 3, 4, 7 shots of bad twos. That's more than 10%. It's kind of not what I want. And it looks as though from 3, we were really, really poor. Now, I'm not going to mind this necessarily, provided, again, that we have the right people taking these shots. So let's just kind of take a look and see where we are. This is a game against, this is the Rising Stars box score. Get back to the Level Up box score. Okay. This is going to be kind of strange, but I actually don't mind this. So when you have Mike taking 14 threes, considering his long-term 3-point shooting percentage, this is actually what I want. Okay, because in the long run, these 14 threes are going to translate to between 5 and 6 makes. So if you think about that, I mean, I'm actually not too concerned about this game as much as I thought I would be. Grip 0 for 4 from 3. I don't know if your 3-point shooting percentage is good enough to take him this often, but that's up to the coaches, honestly. And another 3 from Jagger. I will say this: you're not going to win a game where Taj has 3 points. I mean, you got to be much more active here. Dylan, you were pretty good, 5 for 10, get right at the rim, not bad. I guess it looks like Gabe must have been out for this game. So I guess everybody's got to stay healthy. That's another important thing to do. But overall, just I don't really mind the shot selection that much. Because again, at least I have the right person taking the threes that I want taking them. You just got to make them, and that's all. I think that over the long run, I think this is not the worst idea in the world. But Taj, again, you got to be much more active. There's no world where you should only be taking four shots in a game. All right. And finishing up with the last game, that would be your win over New Jersey Roadrunners in overtime. And that was with Gabe missing. This was a really, really good win. But again, from an effective field goal percentage, this is extremely poor. Now, again, I don't want to belittle, the fact that you guys won, and that's great. But you have to distinguish between what can win in a Long Island tournament in the beginning of April and what can win at Spooky Nuke or Pittsburgh. And 40% effective field goal percentage is not going to work. What is going to work is the 50% offensive rebound percentage. I mean, between Dylan and Harris, you guys really did a very, very nice job on the boards, and that was excellent. Okay, and that's why you ended up probably winning. I mean, you did a really good job offensively against the zone. You worked together. Harris, you particularly, I thought you looked really, really good out there. So let's take a look at the box score and see. Actually, let's look at the shot chart first, and let's see what that looked like versus New Jersey Roadrunners. I don't really like this part of it, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 11 shots of these bad twos. I don't like that. And even though some of them went in, it's just a bad habit to get into. If you continue to take shots that are negative EV, you are going to end up costing yourself. So I would definitely clean this up. You guys are okay from 3, I guess on the poor side of decent. Let's take a look and see what how the box score looked. In the box score, okay, so this is what I want. I want Michael taking 14 threes, which is perfect. 5 out of 14 makes exactly what we want. Adi 1 for 5, no good. Jagger 0 for 2, no good. Ryan 0 for 2, no good. So again, I think that you have to clean up the bad twos. I mean, you got Dylan and Harris were pretty good at the rim. Harris I thought was better than the numbers indicated here, but in any case, you got to really work to get to the rim with Jagger, and to have Dylan, Harris, and Gabe get to the rim, and have your wide open threes taken by the guys that can make them. So overall, I thought this tournament, I think you kind of got what you deserved. You played. Your effective field goal percentage is pretty poor throughout, but you found the one game where you got a lot of good offensive rebounds and were able to get the win. So let's take a look now we can start taking a look at season statistics really quickly, even though you only have 7 or 8 games, because you start building the sample size. And I think it's important during the course of the season to do this. So let's first take a look at stats for the entire season. So you can do this with Hudl pretty nicely. You go all season. And you guys for the season are 42% effective field goal percentage. And obviously that's not going to work. At the very least, this has got to get to 45%. You've got to clean up the bad twos, and you have to clean up the distribution of shots to the people that can make them. Turnover rate, a little high, but we'll live with it. The offensive rebound percentage is really good. You have to emphasize this point. You have to make sure that Dylan and Gabe and Harris, you just keep attacking that offensive glass. And this is going to keep you in some games where your effective field goal percentage is poor. Let's take a look at the shot chart for the whole season. Shot chart for the whole season. So again, what we're looking to do is keep these bad twos to a minimum. So you have 8 plus 14 is 22, 25. You have 37 bad twos. That's got to trend towards 10% or less. I promise you that's what you're going to need. And as far as stats, here's something you guys can work on individually. There's 2 kind of targets, well, 3, that I want you guys all as athletes to look for. I want you guys to be able to either make 50% of your twos or 33% of your threes, okay? Because what that equates to is that effective field goal percentage of 50. It equates to 1 point every possession. So you need to be able to do at least one of those 2 things. If you do both of them, that's kind of elite. And we usually get 1 kid for each team that can do this. But just to kind of start tracking this, Dylan obviously is excellent at twos. Grip, not bad. This is a pretty good inside of 2. And then Taj, about 55%. Gabe, we want you to get there a little bit more. As far as the threes go, we're looking for someone that can make something. I know that Michael over the course of time is going to trend over 33%, but right now he's below it. The next the next 2 guys that shoot the most are Adi and Jagger. Promise you this, that if you're going to be taking this many threes, you better be able to eventually shoot 33% from 3 if you want to get that 50%, effective field goal percentage. So this is something you can look for individually. And again, there's work to be done, but I think you guys can do it. Are you guys good enough to actually win like one of the big hoop group tournaments? I mean, that's kind of lofty, but I want you to be able to get winning records in those things. I want you to be able to compete in some tournaments like you had this past weekend. And the way you're going to do that is a combination of individual improvement, meaning, making sure that you yourself are not taking bad twos, making sure you yourself are taking shots that you can make. And then from a team, just kind of continue to look to, to work to get these good shots. And I think that you will improve. That'll do it through week 5. Excuse me, through game 5, week 2, I guess.